All right, so now that you know how to create a table of values, and you also know how to graph points, we can graph our linear equations. And so just a reminder, an equation with two variables, like this one here, is called a linear equation in two variables. And that graph is going to be a straight line where every single XY coordinate is a point on that line. In other words, it's an XY pair that makes the solution true. And the reason I always stress that in my classes is because I went years graphing these things before one day finally figuring out why it was important. Like, oh, every single point on that line is a solution. So I'm hoping I can save you that grief. So steps to follow are basically just putting together what we've already done. So you'll solve the equation for y. I guess that's something we haven't done yet. So solve the equation for y. Then you're going to make a table of values. Now, you can choose at least three values of x, so try to make them easy ones. Then you're going to find three solutions that are going to work by plugging those x values into the equation and solving for y. So in other words, make your table of values. Then you're going to graph those xy pair solutions and draw a straight line through them. So in this example here, we're trying to graph this linear equation. So first of all, start out by solving for y. That's done here by subtracting 6x from both sides so that y is left alone on its own. So now we have an equation for y. Then we're going to make a table of values. Now you don't have to choose the same values they did here, but they've chosen x's 0, 1, and 2. Those are pretty nice, easy values. And so then you're going to substitute each of those x values into your equation to figure out your y values. And so here they have three different xy pairs that they know are solutions to this linear equation. So step 4, you're going to graph those. And so they've graphed each of those there. Let's kind of think about that. So we've got a point at 0 and 6. So when our x value is 0, our y value is 6. That gives us this point up here, right? Nothing, we don't move to the left or right, but we go up 6. We have a point at 1, 0. So we go 1 over to the right and 0 up or down gives us this point here. And then we've got a point at 2 and negative 6. So when we move over 2 to the right, we move down 6, giving us this third point here. If you've done it right, all three of your points are going to make a straight line. They're going to line up. And then you can draw your line through those points and put arrows on both ends to show that those solutions continue forever. There are infinite solutions in either direction. Okay, so any XY pair that you pick along this line is going to be a solution to that equation. And any XY pair that is not on that line is not a solution to your equation. There's a couple of sort of weirdos that we should talk about, which are horizontal and vertical lines. So a horizontal line is going to have an equation like y equals some value b. So the way I think of these is no matter what your x value equals, y is always b. So look at this example down here. We have y equals 3. When x is negative 6, y is 3. When x is negative 4, y is 3. When x is 0, y is 3. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So we end up with this horizontal line at y equals 3. Okay, and the next example here, we've got y plus 2 equals 0, so you need to solve for y. That gives you y equals negative 2. So no matter what x is, y is negative 2, giving you that horizontal line. We can also have vertical lines. So if we have, let's do this one on the right first. If we have x equals 6, no matter what y equals now, our x value is always 6. So when y is 0, x is 6. When y is 1, x is 6. When y is 2, x is 6, and so on. And so we get a vertical line here at x equals 6. And similarly, we've got this equation x plus 2 equals 0. So if you solve for x, you get x equals negative 2. So no matter what y equals, x is always negative 2, giving you that vertical line. So those are kind of your, let's say, weirdos when you just end up with an x or a y. So with only one of those variables, you're going to have a horizontal or a vertical line. So go ahead and try the exercises and then come on back for the next video.